It's around 6 in the morning and I'm with some of the guys from the Stanford Ringing Group. I'm joining Adam, Stuart and Theo for a busy day checking nest boxes. Our first stop is a small copse where there's a box that contains 2 tawny owl chicks, but on arrival we find that the larger of the 2 owlets has left the box and is sitting on a branch. Tawny owl chicks tend to do this when they get to a certain size. Over a few weeks prior to fledging, Adam gently removes the owlet from its perch and brings it down, ready for ringing. The young bird looks very well fed, and there's some talk as to whether its younger sibling has been on the menu, because as with many birds of prey, egg hatching is staggered, which means the chicks vary in size, which means that when food is scarce, the bigger chicks will devour their smaller siblings, but as you can see, the smaller chick is safe and sound and is brought down for ringing. All the information concerning the box and its occupants is logged, and there we have 2 happy, healthy additions to the tawny owl population. The chicks are put safely back where they were found, and we move on. Not far away, in trees, on the edge of arable land, is another nest box. This box doesn't contain owls, but young corvids. This is a first for me. These are young jackdaws. I've seen and filmed many adult birds, but these are my first chicks. As it begins to rain, the youngsters are quickly ringed and then put back in the warmth and safety of their box. Moving on again, up the old disused railway line to where the ringing station often is on normal ringing days. We park the cars and head out into this private wood where there are many nest boxes to check and process. The majority of the nest boxes in the wood are these type of tit box, which are mostly used by blue tit and great tit. These much slimmer boxes are actually designed for tree creeper, but at the moment are also being used by blue tit. Any chicks found in the nest boxes that are old enough are fitted with their appropriate rings. These are blue tit and look close to fledging. Some of the blue tits being ringed though are much smaller, like these tiny creatures, but once they're in pin, or when they have their pin feathers, they're ready and the rings can be fitted. But it's good news that a lot of the boxes are containing large broods of both blue tit and great tit. These are great tit and the broods are averaging between 8 and 12. After ringing, the birds are carefully put back into the safety of their nest box, and a hand is placed strategically over the hole to stop the older birds from flying straight back out of the hole and fledging before their time. With the nest box on the side of this old storage shed, we find blue tit that have literally just fledged and are visible in the surrounding trees, where they'll still be fed by the parent birds for a little while yet. This one perches on the shed roof, but hopefully will soon move to the relative safety of the surrounding trees. Well, those blue tit may have fledged before they could be ringed, but there's many more boxes to check yet. And there's larger nest boxes in the wood that may attract kestrel, tawny owl, jackdaw or stock dove, but sometimes there are less welcome occupants, like grey squirrel. Grey squirrel are omnivores and would happily eat eggs and predate young birds. But here's one grey squirrel whose predatory days are well and truly over. Any boxes that are found with squirrel drays inside are quickly cleared. The boxes are for the benefit of nesting birds, not grey squirrels. This box on the outer edge of the wood contains a nest made by jackdaws, but for whatever reason has now been abandoned, so it's cleared and may now attract another occupant such as a barn owl. Some of the larger boxes are occupied. This one contains a single jackdaw chick and an egg that hasn't hatched yet, but the tiny chick is way too young to ring.
That's a lot bigger.
A little further on, there's another box containing jackdaw chicks, and these are in pin, so they're ready to ring. Last year, this box contained a single tawny owl chick and an adult egg that hadn't hatched. Over the last few weeks, the box has been monitored, and parent birds have been seen flying to and from the box, so they either have young or are still incubating eggs. Adam uses his phone to carefully film the interior of the box, and the footage reveals 4 eggs. We quietly move on so as not to disturb the adult bird on its return when the busy morning continues. After a murky grey start, the day brightens and the weather improves with blue skies and the woodland floor is dappled with sunlight. Throughout the morning, all the valuable and important information concerning each box we check is logged, and then at last we emerge from the wood to the sound of skylark for a well-earned break. As we recharge our batteries with some welcome sustenance, we notice that the track is popular with horse riders as this beautiful Appaloosa passes by. And then it's time to start the second phase of this busy day. As we approach the line of tall poplars, the first swifts of the year swoop overhead. Every poplar has a nest box attached to its trunk, and every one has to be checked. Once again, some of the boxes contain blue tip and great tip, which are ringed, but also another species. These are tree sparrow, and like many birds in the UK, a species that is in severe decline. It's estimated that tree sparrow numbers have declined by 93% between 1970 and 2008, and that's why all the valuable information gathered is so important. We make our way box by box along the line of poplars, and rain clouds threaten. We eventually reach the small copse on the shore of Stanford Reservoir. The air above the water teems with what I think are mayfly, but they are distant, and on the pontoon perches a pair of common tern. A box in the small wood is checked and reveals this beautiful tawny owl chick, which is about the size of the ones we filmed last year, and is totally unfazed by the process of being ringed. For me, this is the last box of the day and contains these birds. They're stock dove, and it looks as though they're not far off fledging. I've filmed adult stockies before, but these are my first chicks. And that almost brings a very busy and rewarding day to a close. And as the young stock doves are put safely back in their box, that just leaves me to thank Adam, Stuart and Theo of the Stanford Ringing Group for allowing me to film their incredibly important work. And I'll see you again soon.